In this video, I want to share a little repair job I'm doing with you. There's always stuff to fix, and this job starts with a story. Back in the fall, I was shingling a roof with an air nailer, and I had this compressor sitting on the ground, and it would turn on when tank pressure dropped, and it would shut off again when tank pressure reached the cutoff point. This compressor happens to go up to 200 psi. It's a great little compressor. But once when the thing turned on, it just never shut off. I'm sitting there up on the roof, and not only that, but the air nailer's not blamming away with as much force as normal. So I climbed down. I thought, oh, what if I got an air leak or something like that? But there was no air leak. And no matter how long the compressor ran, the pressure in the tank never got higher than 75 psi, which is lower than the 90 something I was running the gun. So problem of some kind, and there was no air leaking anywhere. So I got another compressor and I continued the job, but I wanted to fix this if I could, and I thought maybe there's a belt slipping inside, because the thing's still running and it's still doing some compression, but it's just not getting up to pressure. So I decided to take it apart and find out what was going on. I'd never gone into a machine like this before, and it was actually fairly difficult to get this thing open because there's covers that go on here, and a lot of these screws are deep in. You have to reach them a long way. They go farther than most screwdrivers, and they're Torx as well. So I got myself an extended set of Torx bits so I could take this thing apart, because I really don't like throwing out things, good tools, when maybe they just need a little bit of work. So got the cover off, and you can see the drive belt in here. I was actually kind of disappointed to see that this drive belt was in such good condition. Not only that, it's a toothed belt as well, so there's no way that was slipping. Plugged it in again, ran it with the cover off. I could see that it was working fine. It's kind of interesting. You can see there's a connecting rod in here, and the cylinder. So this is the cylinder sleeve itself. There's the connecting rod in there, and there's a piston in here. It goes back and forth and compresses the air. Turned it on again, still wouldn't go above 75. So I just start fooling around. I'm thinking, well, I might as well take it apart, because it's just going to go to the junkyard if I can't find out what's wrong with it. My next move was to take the cylinder head off, and that's when I discovered something that made me feel pretty happy. Because when you're troubleshooting things like this, what you really want to find is a problem. And I found the problem, and we're going to fix the problem right now. This plate sits between the cylinder head and the top of the cylinder, and it's got valves on it. 2 flap valves here. It was supposed to be 3, and then another set of valves down here. So that allows the compressor to suck air in on the downstroke of the piston, and then to compress that air on the upstroke and funnel it into the pressure tank. The reason why my compressor wasn't working properly was because one of these flaps had corroded and broken off. So air was leaking through. It wasn't getting compressed properly and into the tank. And you can see what's happened here. Moisture is always an issue inside of compressors, and because when you compress air, it can trigger condensation, especially if it's moist outside. So you can see there's some corrosion has set in there, and then this third flap that should be there was missing. So that's the problem. Hallelujah. Now it's time to find the part. And I found the part. I ordered it. All this happened about 6 months ago. It doesn't necessarily happen too quickly when you're repairing these things. But I still wanted to fix it properly. So I'm going to be putting this new plate in. You can see it's the same as it was before, except we have 3 flap valves. First part of the repair is to salvage some of these seals or O-rings. There's one on each side of the old plate, and they didn't come on the new plate, so not sure how well this is going to stick in here. I'll have to be careful when I put it in not to lose that, not to have it fall out. I may want to put a little bit of goop in there just to hold it, depending on how we do. ready to go here. You know, one of the challenges with this kind of repair is you have to remember how things go back together. And like I said, it's been 6 months since I had this thing apart, so I'm gonna have to do a little bit of detective work. I'll just use the old plate right now, but this plate can go this way, or this way, or this way, or this way. So I have to figure out how it goes.
How did you do on multiple choice questions back in school?
I like them, but multiple choice isn't as high stakes as real life like this. So I see some nubbins here. I'm kind of thinking those engage this cylinder sleeve somehow. And if you look here on the cylinder head, you can see some remnants of rust there. And if I look here, I can see some rust. There's no rust on this side, so I think it goes this way, so like this. Because we've got the rust, then we've got this funny shaped seal here, which would correspond with this shape here. So I feel pretty confident it's going to go together. Let's just see. We'll just try that with this here. See where those little nubbins go. Yeah, that's going to work fine. Now I have to get some screws ready too. I have to remember which ones those were. But you might find this useful. If part of the problem is to remember how things go back together again, another problem is finding the fasteners or not losing them in the first place. I like to use a rare earth magnet. You can see it down there. Quite powerful. Just hold everything together. You're tipping things in your favor when you do stuff like that. So
Wouldn't work if you were taking apart a computer, but
no, it wouldn't. But this is not the computer realm. So, you know, I'm looking, we need 4 screws. And I've got, I think it's these ones here. Oops.
uh-oh.
Yeah. Uh-oh. Well, luckily I'm not doing this on a lawn somewhere. Every little thing that falls down into the grass disappears forever.
Yeah, including my wedding ring.
Yes, that's right. You still haven't lived up, you still haven't gotten over that one yet, have you?
No, and I hear about it every once in a while. I mean, I made this one out of a toonie, so that's something at least, but...
Well, now that actually should impress wifey a lot more than a store-bought ring, right? I mean, you made that thing on a toonie for crying out loud.
You'd think so, but this one isn't 24 karat, so...
Well, you could make something up, you know? Make something up about that ring. Because I'm more impressed with that ring than I was with the ring you were at the altar with. But.
Yeah, you're a practical 50-something-year-old man, though, not an impractical 20-something-year-old woman. Do you see it?
Yep, I see it.
It's a workshop yoga.
Yeah, workshop Pilates, right? And that's what you were recommending the last time.
It's Pilates.
Pilates.
Get the lingo right.
What are we looking at here? It's probably metric. A lot of things are metric these days. Yep, 8 millimeter. Okay. So now the tricky part is going to be getting this plate in without losing the positioning of this thing. I'm going to put this in here. Good. Now this goes on. I did notice this is a little bit loose here. I can rotate it. I can rotate this fitting. So when I get it together, I'm going to snug that up a little bit. Brain surgery. That's what this is. Why is it that when the phone rings, it irritates me? Is it because the phone's always ringing at a critical moment in life?
Well, I think it's designed to be a somewhat irritating sound, you know, most phone rings.
That's a Panasonic phone. We've had that for years. It's a pretty common phone, and I find that if I happen to be in a store or a restaurant or something, and they've got a Panasonic phone, and it rings, it makes me irritated.
You think it's for you for a second?
Yeah, I mean, before you realize what's going on. Gosh, once I get this buttoned up, I'm not going to go through all the hassles of putting the shroud and everything back on until I've proven that this baby works. cylinder heads and wheel rims. They should be tightened sequentially so you don't warp things. I mean, it's not the cylinder head on a Harley Davidson, but we're going to still treat it with respect, right? I think we may be ready for a test here. I don't know, does it look right?
Looks right.
Looks right. Does it rotate? Oh yeah, there we go. I don't know. I've always liked the look of a connecting rod and a flywheel, piston and cylinder. There's something magical about that. Okay, it rotates. So I think we're ready for a trial run. Of course, you know, the writers of repair manuals and such, they always caution you against plugging anything in or starting it up when it's not completely enshrouded in its, you know, legal department authorized shrouds and everything, but sometimes you just have to try something out. Okay, I want to make sure it's off. It's off. Okay, the valve here is closed, the tank valve. So if 6 months of waiting and scrounging for a part is going to pay off, now's the time when it will happen. So
Oh boy.
we should hit 200 psi before it turns off. So here we go. I'm just going to hit it briefly first. Yeah.
Nothing exploded.
Nothing exploded. Nothing flew off and hit me. Now, I should mention, that is as high as it used to get. 75. All right.
200.
That looks like success, doesn't it?
Looks like it because it is.
Okay, kind of curious. How hot does that get? Pretty hot.
Maybe we should stick the phone on that so the viewers can tell how hot it is.
Not as hot as the cylinder head in a Harley Davidson and the Bonneville salt flats, but pretty hot. Okay, I'm going to unplug this. This next part's probably going to be more difficult than the first, and that's trying to remember how it all goes back together again. This is some kind of a muffler, I think. I'm looking at how everything lines up. I think, yeah, this has to go there, and this has to go there.
Seems
Got to
reasonable.
interlock, so let's see what happens here.
It's like an internal organ or something.
It does. It does look like something you'd see in a medical book. Wait, there we go. This is an exceptionally quiet compressor. I think that muffler is why. Maybe when it's all buttoned up. Okay. So these are those, like the screws, they go in here, but they don't actually connect with anything until they get deep in. That's why I had to get those extended Torx bits. And I do have another thing here too. I hit the safety relief valve.
My ears.
Are you okay?
I'm fine, but something's going on.
Well, this is just the usual sort of thing. A bit of struggling, wrestling. This thing is part of this thing, so I'm going to have to interlock this with this first. Prevent it then. Ah, that's looking promising. More promising. Okay, this is the only screw of its kind, small screw. I'm kind of thinking it has to go in there. I can't remember, but let's just see. Okay, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some of these screws in here loose, at least hold things together. I've almost given up hope of being able to fix this at all because I just couldn't get to the screws. But Irwin's got this great set here. Long Torx bits. You just make sure that you got the right one. So this must be it. Yeah, that's gripping. I just want to get it started though. Maybe snug it up a little bit. That's going in too. You know, I find that when I have something that breaks, there's always something breaking when you get this much gear in your life. I'm actually glad that it breaks. Look at how far in that had to go. After I fixed it, I'm glad that it's broken because I just have a lot more sense of satisfaction with the equipment because you fixed it.
You must be very satisfied with the tractor and snowblower. Supreme satisfaction there. Constant satisfaction.
There's a saying that says no good deed goes unpunished. So I was helping a neighbor who had to get some hay bales, and we're dealing with waist deep snow, and there's stuff over there, or there could have been stuff in the snow, and so I'm blowing snow out and to get to the bales, and then there's a big bang in the 8-foot snowblower, 1,000-year-old snowblower, and I see that the PTO shaft, power takeoff shaft, has come off of the gearbox on the snowblower. It's actually sheared the key off of it.
Didn't we do a video about that?
No, we didn't.
We didn't?
We decided not to.
Too much tractor stuff.
Too much tractor. But anyway, so I thought, it's just loosened and fallen off. You know, it wasn't really anyone's fault or anything. But so I fix it, and then I go to start the snowblower again. It's all full of snow, and I engage it, and it's not turning. And it's not turning enough that it's stalling out a 60 horsepower diesel engine at idle. And I'm thinking, okay, is it frozen? You know, so I go in and start knocking it loose, and sure enough, my good deed was being rewarded because caught there in the auger tines was a whole chunk of a concrete block. Which is what got me in the first place. But anyway, fixed, no problem. So there's satisfaction in that. Maybe not so much when you hit concrete blocks, but there's another couple of things here. This plate, this yellow plate needs to go on the back. I see there's a couple of bumpers here that need to go on. I guess they go on here somewhere. I'll button that up, but there you go. Well, thanks very much for watching. I hope you found this interesting. And if you like the video, give me a thumbs up, subscribe, hit the notifications bell, and check out my website and newsletter in the description box.